In this screencast, I'm going to give an example of creating tables in LaTeX. I'm going to create a simple table, add some horizontal and vertical lines to the table cells, align the text within the columns, make the table look more professional, and then finally add a list of tables to the document. So first of all, I need to open the original document I had, and I'm going to add a table in the first subsection. And like the figure, I need to create an environment, and this is the tabular environment. And within these two begin and end statements is where I begin my table. But first of all, I need to define how many columns there are after the begin command. And I'm going to add two left aligned columns in my table, defined by the two L's here. So then I can begin adding rows to the table, and each row entry is separated by an and sign. So if I add one entry, the next entry is separated by an and sign, and then at the end of each row you put a double slash to indicate that that's the end of the row. And each row must have the same number of entries in it. So if I add some more rows here, I'm going to create an example table of odd and even numbers, where each entry is separated by an and sign, and I have the double slash at the end. And so that's it, what it takes to create a simple table. Now if I run the PDF LaTeX command and then open the document, I should have a table in the document. And now you can see the table I created. Now at the moment it's not in the center of the page, and usually you want the table to be in the center of the page. And that's relatively easy to do. I just put a table environment around the tabular environment. And within this table environment I put a centering command. And that centers the tabular environment here inside the table environment I've created here. So I'll run PDF LaTeX again and open it. You can see the table is now centered in the PDF page. Now these numbers, they don't look very good on the left hand side of the column, so I'm going to right align these numbers now. Going back to the table, so here I define two left aligned columns, but if I want a right aligned column I change this L to an R, and similarly if I wanted a center aligned column I put a C in there. So if I run that again, zoom in, you can see the numbers are now on the right hand side of that column. Now if you want to add vertical lines and horizontal lines between each row, you put a bar sign in, and this just says to tell LaTeX to add a vertical line in between these columns. So I've now got vertical lines on each side of the table and in between the two columns. Now to add a horizontal line, put the H line after the end of line statement, which is the two slashes, and this will add a horizontal line after the row it's added on. So if I add that to all my rows, I'll run that again, you can see that I have three vertical lines and the lines after each row. You can see there's not a line on above the top row. That's because I need to add a horizontal line above the top row. So I put that in here. that will then add a horizontal line above the first row. So I'll show that. And so you can see it now has the line above the table. Now I don't think this table looks very nice, and there's a LaTeX package for making more professional looking tables, and that's the book tabs package. So I'll give an example of using that now. So if I go to the top, like I use the graphics package, I need to use the add the book tabs package. Now book tabs isn't part of the default LaTeX distribution, so you need to have the book tabs file in the directory where you build a document, which I've already downloaded here. Now I've added that, I can now use the book tabs commands. So I'll go back to the table, and the commands book tabs offers are better spaced lines. So instead of the H line at the top, I'm going to add the command top rule, which creates a line, a thick line at the top of the table, and another one for the bottom, called bottom rule. And then finally, book tabs offers midline rules, which are called mid rule. And these lines slightly better space out the contents of the table. And so I'm going to add another one after I've defined my even number rows. And then finally I'm going to delete these horizontal line statements, because I think it makes the table more confusing if you have too many lines. I'm going to have each category defined twice, only defined at the start of the... So even and odd is only defined at the first row of that category. And finally I'm going to remove the vertical bars. So now if I run that again, I think that looks a much nicer table, because you have more spacing between the lines and less confusing vertical and horizontal lines. So that's using the book tabs. Next, there's no caption here, so I'm going to show how to add a caption. And it's the same as a figure. You just put caption command and the text of the caption. And then I might want to add a list of tables, just as I have a list of figures. So I'll copy this command. If I run that one final time. So it complains that there's no document list of tables, so if I run that command once more, it will generate that. Now if I open the output PDF, I now have a list of tables at the start of the document. That's on page 4. And if I look at the table, it now has a caption on it, which as always is auto-numbered by LaTeX. And that's it.